You have tried putting your career first. You have tried putting your relationships first. You have tried putting your own plans, your own comfort, your own timeline first. And each time something was still missing. Not because those things are wrong, but because they were never designed to carry the weight you placed on them. There is an order to life that God established from the beginning. And when that order is ignored, everything else eventually breaks down. But when it is honored, something shifts that no self help strategy, no productivity system, no human wisdom can produce. If you have been chasing the life you want but cannot quite reach it, this is for you. Because the answer may not be working harder, it may be reordering everything. Why does this matter more than most people realize? Because most Christians say God is first, but live as if he is optional. They fit him into the calendar after everything else is already scheduled. They pray when they have a problem and read the word when they have the time. And then they wonder why their lives feel fragmented, why peace is always just out of reach, why they keep building and building but never feel fully settled. Jesus addressed this directly in Matthew 6:33. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Seek first, not seek also, not seek eventually first. That word is not a suggestion about priority. It is the key to the promise that follows. And all these things will be given to you as well. The life you have been striving to build on your own is the very life God promised to add when you stop striving and start seeking him first. Here is why that changes everything. First, when God is first, your identity becomes unshakable. Most people build their sense of self on things that were never designed to hold it, their job title, their relationship status, their accomplishments, their appearance. And when any of those things shift, and they always eventually shift, the identity built on them cracks. But the person who puts God first builds identity on something that cannot be moved. Colossians 3:3 says, "For you died, and your life is now hidden with Christ in God." Hidden with Christ in God. That is not a fragile foundation. That is the most secure place a human being can stand. When your identity is rooted in who God says you are, the opinion of others loses its power over you. Failure loses its ability to define you. Rejection loses its ability to destroy you because you already know whose you are. And that knowledge does not come and go with the seasons of life. It is constant. It is settled. It is the ground beneath every other thing you will ever stand on. Second, when God is first, your decisions carry a clarity you cannot manufacture on your own. One of the most exhausting parts of modern life is decision fatigue. The constant weight of choosing between options when you are not sure which one is right, the anxiety of the open door when you do not know if you should walk through it, the paralysis of the crossroads when every path looks equally uncertain. But the person who genuinely puts God first has access to something the world does not offer. Proverbs 16:3 says, "Commit to the Lord whatever you do, and he will establish your plans." He will establish your plans, not complicate them, not confuse them, establish them. When you bring your decisions to God first, before you consult the opinions, before you run the numbers, before you ask everyone around you what they think, something begins to align. Doors close that would have hurt you. Doors open that you would have missed on your own. And the path that once felt like a maze begins to straighten. Not because you became smarter, because you started following someone who can see the whole map. Third, when God is first, your relationships are transformed from the inside out. This is the change that surprises people most, because most people try to fix their relationships by focusing on the relationships themselves. Better communication, better boundaries, better conflict resolution strategies. And while those things have value, they cannot fix what is fundamentally a spiritual problem. When you are not right with God, you bring a version of yourself into every relationship that is incomplete, anxious, demanding, looking to others to fill what only God was designed to fill. But when God is truly first, you stop requiring people to be what they were never meant to be. You stop demanding from your spouse the peace that only God can give. You stop depending on your friendships to carry the weight of your worth. You enter every relationship already full rather than reaching in to take. Jesus said in John 13:34 to 35, "A new command I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples, as I have loved you." That quality of love is only possible when the source of love is first in your life. And when that love flows through you into your relationships, everything changes, not eventually, immediately. Fourth, when God is first, your work becomes an act of worship instead of a source of anxiety. Let's be honest, work has become one of the most anxious arenas of modern life. The pressure to perform, the fear of being replaced, the exhaustion of striving for a success that keeps moving the goalpost. And the Christian who has not put God first brings all of that anxiety into their work because their identity is still tied to the outcome. But Colossians 3:23 to 24 says, "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward." Working for the Lord. When God is first, you no longer work to prove yourself. You work as an act of offering. You bring excellence not to earn approval, but because the one you are ultimately working for deserves your best. And that shift removes the anxiety that was never supposed to be there in the first place. Your value is no longer determined by your performance review. Your security is no longer held hostage by the economy. You work hard, you work with integrity, and you trust God with the results. That is a life the world cannot explain and cannot replicate. Fifth, when God is first, provision follows in ways that defy natural explanation. This is the part of Matthew 6:33 that most people read, but very few actually test. All these things will be given to you as well: food, clothing, what you need. Jesus said it plainly. When you seek first the kingdom, the things you would have spent your energy chasing begin to come towards you instead. That does not mean you stop working. It does not mean you become passive. It means the frantic, anxious, I have to secure everything myself energy is replaced by a trusting, diligent, I am following God and He will provide energy. And the difference in what those two postures produce is staggering. Psalm 37:4 says, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." The desires of your heart, not a few of them, not the minor ones, the ones that matter most to you. Because when God is first, your desires begin to align with His will. And a desire that is aligned with God's will is a desire that God is already working to fulfill. Brother, you cannot outgive God. You cannot outtrust Him. Every time you put Him first and watch Him provide, the next act of trust becomes a little easier because you have seen it with your own eyes. And what you have seen becomes the anchor for everything you are still believing for. So, how do you actually put God first in practical terms? Start with the morning, before you look at your phone, before you check your messages, before you rehearse the list of everything that needs to happen today. Give God the first moments, not a long devotional you do not have time for. Just 5 minutes. Open your hands, open His word, say out loud, "Lord, you are first today. Not my plans, not my fears, not my agenda, you," and mean it. Then carry that posture with you into the decisions of the day. Before you send the email, ask Him. Before you make the agreement, ask Him. Before you walk through the open door, ask Him. Because putting God first is not just a morning ritual, it is a moment by moment orientation of the whole life toward the one who holds it all together. And the more consistently you practice that orientation, the more natural it becomes until seeking Him first stops being a discipline and becomes the instinct of a life that has discovered it can finally breathe. The decision is yours. You can keep building the life you want on your own terms, in your own order, by your own wisdom, or you can reorder everything. Put Him first, actually first. Not first on Sunday and fifth by Wednesday. First every morning. First in every decision. First in what you protect and what you release and what you pursue, and watch what God does with a life that has finally given him the place he always deserved. It changes everything, not some things, everything. If this message challenged you today, write this in the comments. Lord, you are first, everything else follows you. Let that be your declaration. Let that be the reordering that begins today. And if this message spoke to your heart, subscribe to FaithSketch, because here, everything is built on the Word of God.